Gentlemen, football was on last night, like live American football. I know it's the preseason.
But it was cool to see, though.
But it's like an inaugural. It's almost like a passing of the torch. Browns ended up winning. They did drop the opening kickoff, which, you know, that doesn't make me feel great. But DeMarcus Ware sang the national anthem, and it was a little bit of somberness because him and Demaryius Thomas, who obviously, you know, Demaryius isn't with us anymore, used to stand by each other and do it. DeMarcus, hell of a player. Auburn High School graduate, went to Troy. Was obviously unbelievable for the Cowboys and won a championship with the Broncos. Won a Super Bowl with the Broncos. Not a great singer, though.
Was it? It wasn't good?
No.
I missed it.
No, it was. He tried hard. You know how when we said like a quarterback, like the only compliment you want to have is that he's like a tough kid.
Okay.
You know, I want you to be able to pass the ball good. And
same for national anthem performances.
Like,
you don't want someone to say you tried hard.
Hey, at least you went out there.
It's a real American Idol situation. They come in, great background story. You know, it's sad, but it's happy at the same time.
Yeah.
And you want
like your dad left at 4.
But then they sing.
And it's bad.
It's just bad.
You know what? Let's just chalk it up as a win that they're still singing the national anthem.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee no one told that to DeMarcus Ware's face.
No.
Yeah. It's like, DeMarcus, great job.
Great job.
God, sounded great.
Yeah, I'm just saying that because right now, like, DeMarcus isn't anywhere around. Like, if DeMarcus is sitting right here, I'd be like, look, it's a yes.
Hear a knock on the door.
Yeah.
It's a yes from me.
Like, Marcus, they should get you to sing it at every game.
Hey, Marcus, I close is like a mixture of Fergie and
Jesus. You going to Hollywood, dog.
Yeah.
Going to Hollywood.
Going to Hollywood.
Good for him for doing it, though.
Oh, yeah, see, there you go. That's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, it was a cool moment.
Yeah.
Kicking football off. I thought there was some really
They won
cool
a Super Bowl
interviews.
together, right? The Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I think Demaryius was there with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We need to fact check that, but I do think it was. Got a great show for you today. We got Collins as well, talking everything. Football, as I said, has officially begun. The Browns beat the Jets last night in the Hall of Fame game. Shohei Ohtani homered again, and we're breaking down which college football coach will have the best second-year campaign. I'm Jake Crain. It's Flamin' Dragon Friday, and this is Crain and Company. Now, year 2 is mostly always easier for head coaches after getting a chance to integrate some of their culture into the team, add depth through the transfer portal. You get to know the lay of the land and actually have a little time to build relationships with the recruits going into their senior year in the next class. And this year, we have an all-star list of second-year coaches from all over the country, and we're going to dive into that here in a minute. But there's always one sophomore head man that rises above the rest, that shows he's truly about it. Now, out of this group of second-year guys, my pick to yield the best results is Brian Kelly at LSU. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Now, year 1's going to be a hard act to follow after winning the SEC West and beating Alabama, but LSU cares about championships above all else. And this team and the players they have returning are built to win one. They return what should be a fantastic offensive line. They have a deep quarterback room and skill position players that can go get it. The one question mark you could point to is maybe the pass rush after losing B.J. Ojolari and Ali Gay. But the last thing I worry about with LSU is athleticism off the edge. It's like worrying if Augustus Gloop likes chocolate anymore or not. Now, obviously, personnel was going to be my main reason for picking Brian Kelly to come out of this group on top. But there's more to it than that. LSU actually has positive continuity, which is going to lead to actual consistency, which is something Baton Rouge has been missing, obviously outside of alcohol and really good jambalaya. Now, Kelly's had a year to hammer home his culture of accountability and implement organization. The players know the standard, and so does he after playing and coaching in the league for a full year. There are no more surprises or questions on whether or not if he can do it. Now, the players understand the practice structure, the schedule, how to manage their time efficiently, and it's another year with practically the same coaching staff. They understand the expectation when they go to travel or prepare for a home game, and that breeds the right type of comfortability. All LSU needed was someone to come in and turn repetition into a competition of who can be the most consistent. Because when you treat every Monday through Friday the same, the way you handle Saturday will be the same. Now, while there's going to be some coaches in year 2 that succeed and some that fall on their face, go ahead and give me BK to have it his way in his sophomore campaign down there in Baton Rouge. I'm going to bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback, and really good tailgate food connoisseur list maker, David Cohn, outside of the fried gator. That was a reach.
No,
and then
my taste buds.
It's Flamin' Dragon. It's Flamin' Dragon Friday, so you know who's sitting to my right.
This is Flaming Dragon!
Dowdy, your sensei.
Two shrimp shake chicken, 2.5.
2.5?
2.5.
All right.
And trust me, I got them on their P's and Q's.
I just want to make sure I'm allowed to say, and this is not a question for you, Kim Jong-un. I'm asking the control room back there. I can say flaming, right? That's fine. Correct?
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
whole thing.
Okay. Can I say blanket? If I say it like
No.
that.
Why are you saying it? Like, when he said it for psychological purposes, it makes sense, like when Cone did that. But, like, if you're just throwing out blanket.
No, if I'm saying, listen,
You're thrown in our
Elite
face.
Neighbors is a great security blanket on 3rd down for Jaden Daniels. Is that
course, that's a
acceptable?
word.
Yeah, but you
Yes,
can't
if
say
it's a
blame.
word.
Okay. Look, I'm just making sure I'm
Yeah, that
dipping my
sounds
toe in
just
the
like
water
us.
before there's any treachery that gets pulled back there, because I know the way you guys collude, all right?
After
You
last
think
week,
I'm colluding.
after last week,
Look.
you're talking about us colluding.
Look, you go under mama's mattress and you bet this under here.
Oh, it's
that's good.
going.
You can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to
Bet
hit.
this
If
under.
you're new, I just can't say his government-issued name. I have to refer to him really as anything else, but I really call him either Flaming Dragon or Flaming or some type of insult. But
Flaming, I like that.
year 2 head coaches, we actually got a graphic we're going to pull up, too.
Ooh, yes.
But before we get the graphic of where we have, a certain number of guys that we're going to see who can win the most games, is there one guy outside of Brian Kelly that you think may have the best second?
Man, it's hard to pick against Brian Kelly with what he was able to do in
Thank
year
you.
1 and everything that they're bringing back. But I just keep looking at Lincoln Riley, man. This guy is a heck of a ball coach. He's got the returning Heisman Trophy winner. They won 11 games at Southern Cal last year in his first season. Couple things about that. No Oregon on the schedule last year. No Washington on the schedule last year. So then the 2 of those losses to Utah, and then they had the bowl loss to Tulane. Still, 11 wins. And look, Lincoln Riley, since 2017, his first year coaching at Oklahoma, he was 12-2. 2018, 12-2, 2019, 12-2, 2020, 9-2, and 2021, 10-2, and that was before winning 11 last year. The knock has been being able to win the big one at the end and sort of have success in the college football playoff. The knock has not been, getting double-digit wins. So I really like Lincoln Riley, and I just have to believe that the defense is going to be improved this season, and let
can
Caleb
they
Williams
not be?
do his thing on the offensive side.
Yeah, obviously the question is defense with USC. It's really easy to point at, say, oh, Alex Grinch, is he going to figure it out? When's he going to stop stealing Christmas for every fan that roots for the team he's the defensive coordinator of? The question I don't think is how much, if they're going to improve or not. It's how much are they going to improve? Are you going to improve enough to not let Utah come in there and just punch you in the face and you do nothing about it? Twice. We saw Tulane do it in the bowl game too. Like at what point because the defense doesn't have to be the steel curtain. They don't have to be Georgia's
Be good
defense.
enough.
You just got to be good enough. But when we watched what happened to TCU last year, and I know every year is different, but what makes these championship teams is what? It's up front. It's in the trenches. USC in a year, in a great stroke of irony, in which the Pac-12 could be the second best conference, top to bottom, in college football. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say when you have what Oregon's returning, what USC's returning. Obviously, you look at Utah, you look at Washington. I think Arizona's going to be improved, even though their schedule is like getting pistol whipped when you're not looking. Oregon State's going to be really good. Can they survive that physical push, right? And you look at UCLA, to be able to make it, to have a chance to get into that 4. And then when they get in it, can you possibly be physical enough on defense? But if they do, David, if they do figure it out on defense and they're able to compete, I don't know how USC doesn't become one of the most dominant teams in the country, because Lincoln Riley is an absolute magician. I mean, it's like watching the Prestige on offense when then they're communicating plays with like 2 finger movements and 2 winks.
I mean, yeah, you have the former Heisman winner too. I mean,
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, that helps. I mean, anything if your defense doesn't improve, at least you know you're probably going to rack up 30 plus a game. So you're going to be my team. One guy I looked at was the Oregon Ducks, right?
Quack.
Yeah, Quack. I mean, go ahead and look at this. You bring Bo Nix back and have a security blanket at quarterback, so a guy that you can trust. I mean, if it wasn't for 2 games late in the game, Pac-12 games that you fell apart, I mean, you might be talking to a playoff team last year and only scored 3 points against Georgia week 1. But the biggest question with Oregon is what? Their offensive line. You lose all 4 of your guys. You need 4 new starters. Yeah. But Dan did a really good job going to the transfer portal. I mean, you got skilled players. You got Trayshawn Holden from Bama. He's going to be a big piece there. That's never the problem. The problem was late when their defense. But there's anything Dan Lanning's a what type of coach? He's a defensive coach. And culture really starts to set in on defense. What, year 2? Right? And, you get the depth, you get the guys that you need. I think Oregon is deep enough to make a run. You got Utah on the road, all right? You got Washington on the road. It's not going to be easy in the Pac-12. You get USC at home. But I like where Dan Lanning culture standpoint is because he wants to play a physical brand of football.
Yeah,
that's what he wants to do on defense. And if you can do that and bring that to the Pac-12 with the talent that he already has on the offense, that's what Utah does, right? The only difference is Utah is not super athletic on offense. They're not bad. But what do they do? Their front 7 on defense is that you can put them up to SEC teams. Mm-hmm. I really think. And if you can have that identity, which Dan Lanning has, and the culture he brings from Georgia and Kirby Smart, they can make a real run in the Pac-12.
Yeah, and not to harp on physicality too much. Flaming, I agree with you 100%. The physicality is how you come up. Look around the country. How did Utah come up? You brought that up. They're the most physical team in the Pac-12. It's the reason they've won it twice in a row. That's what Dan wants to build there. He wants to be in that vein. And guess what? You end up going to the Big Ten, it puts you ahead of the curve because if you're asset and physical in the Big Ten, they're going to pull your pants down in front of the whole school at the musical.
That's a fact.
Especially
in November.
Especially in November. Then you look at the Big 12. How did Baylor come up? How did Oklahoma State come up? How did Kansas State come up last year? Honestly, how did TCU come up? I don't think people talk enough about how physical TCU was up front. Everybody talks about Max Duggan and the receiver room that they had, but it's physicality. Then you look at the ACC. How did Clemson get to be able to take on Bama and actually beat them? How did Clemson be able to kind of put this SEC team in the ACC? They did it physically, right? And then how did Michigan overtake Ohio State? They didn't do it with a bunch of skill players. Ohio State has better skill position players than Michigan does, especially on offense. They did it because they lined up and kicked your ass up front. That's been the difference with Michigan. So I don't care what system you run, if it's the triple option, if it's the air raid. I don't care if you're in the Pac-12, the AAC, the SEC, the NCAA, or the NAACP. Physicality is what wins in this game. That's how it works. That's how it will always work, and the smart coaches know that. Want to get to the Booster Club in 1 second, but we do want to tell you guys we are almost to 100,000 subs on YouTube. Please, if you have not subscribed, go do it. We want to get there. We want to throw that party, and then we want to get to 200,000. Then we want to get to 200 million because Flaming Dragon wants to fight Mark Zuckerberg, and I really want to see it.
Meet me in the meta, bruh.
Meet me in the meta, bruh.
Meta, dog. Did y'all hear they're actually selling real estate in the meta for like $1 million, 1.5.
God, that's how easy is that open house?
Yeah. And,
hey, hold on, here it is.
Yeah, and it's like a robot fight this weekend in Nashville.
Real Steel?
Yeah, the real Steel. It's a Hugh Jackman situation.
God, I love that.
Jacked man.
Well,
but a robot.
Before we get to this graphic, because we want to know who the second-year coach you would pick, and then we're going to get to this graphic where we have the different rows. But first, it's one of my favorite ads to read ever. We love grilling. We love tailgating. We love eating meats and sweet, sweet treats. Pick it up. Oh, our friends over at Grill Blazer. Are you tired of waiting ages for your grill to heat up? Show them, Flaming. Yeah, show them.
Come on!
Boy, man, I ain't been this let down since I looked in the mirror 7 months ago and realized I was fat.
That's what it was. Walsh used up all our propane.
It's eternal. Yeah, I used up all the propane.
It's eternal flame?
What we gotta
do it again. Do it again. I'm not reading this ad. There it is! Yeah! There it is. If you're tired of waiting ages for your grill to heat up, now you can say goodbye to those tedious moments of impatiently watching the charcoal burn. And it's awesome.
It is.
Okay? And it can do multiple things. They have 2 types of grill guns. You got the sous vide gun, right, which has a shorter barrel. This one's sawed off. All right, if you're really down to get busy. Then you've got the grill gun basic, which is a high-powered propane torch. I really could just stop reading the ad there. Yeah. You want a high-powered propane torch? Yes. Are you American? Yes. Why are we back-to-back World War champs? Because we make stuff like this. It's designed to light charcoal and wood grills and smokers. It burns up to 3,600 degrees, which is hotter than the sun. Woo. Fact check me on that. It's 30-inch flame. It's for anything you need a big bad torch to do. David, you got one.
I've used mine about half a dozen times now. Lights my grill in 60 seconds, which gives me a lot more time to yell at people to get off my lawn.
How does the dog react when you hit it? Does
Penny Lane? Oh, she's good.
Yeah.
She's good. She's got her own problems right now. She's getting terrorized by a 2-year-old, okay?
Oh, man.
My son.
Yes.
You know?
The coolest videos I get sent on Instagram are people that have used our promo code. No, this is the worst videos I get sent of using their grill gun. So get your grill gun from Grill Blazers today and let the grilling adventures begin. Here's what you got to do. You go to grillblazer.com, all right, spelled like it sounds. You don't have to win the script spelling bee to figure that out. Grillblazer.com and use promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, for 15% off your order. That's grillblazer.com. Use promo code BOOSTER for 15% off your order. It's guaranteed fun, and it helps. You can sear things. I'm telling you, it's dual threat. Okay, let's pull that graphic up.
Bring it up.
Let's get to the Booster Club.
Yes.
I want some answers.
Let's go to Old World Skull. $20 dono. Appreciate that,
I'd
bud.
love to see it.
It says 4 days after losing, Dustin Poirier and the Good Fight Foundation gave out over 1,000 backpacks to local families here in Lafayette. We need more of that in the world. Also, his hot sauce and bourbon are fire.
Shout out to Dustin.
Good
That
for
is a
him.
great gesture, and we got a little surprise.
Mhm.
Should we say something yet or not?
I don't know. Ask
Should we
PJ.
say, hey, PJ, what do you think? Should we tell him?
What we
Hmm?
what we telling them?
Do you have an answer?
What we telling them?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I
Okay.
also am so.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, well, let's get an answer on that.
Cool.
Yeah, what else we got in the Booster
Cool.
Club?
Let's go to Serve Potatoes.
Nice.
There he
$1
is.
donation. So Jake is mid. David's the star.
I just want to know.
Blaine is the mascot.
Dad.
Get your dad out of the chat. He's already subbed, David.
Serve potatoes.
Enough is enough.
Serve potatoes.
What did I do?
Oh, I'm going to make potatoes my favorite food.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to Noah Perkins. You percolating. $5 donation.
Appreciate it, Noah.
From one Rangers fan to another. Does David Michigan think that their moves before the trade deadline will be enough to get all the way to the World
Yes.
Series?
Yes, and maybe win it or lose to the Braves. Those are the only two options. You see Scherzer last
So-
night? Got down early.
I know.
They were in a
That's what
3-0
Cat Eyes does.
hole.
Look, you got to keep shoving. Flaming had a -1.5 on his bet. 4-3, bottom of the 8th, right? Rangers are up. So if you don't hit this one, you don't get this run in, you don't cover, you're going to get 3 outs probably in the top of the 9th. You're going to bring in the closer. Hey, guess what? Let's bring in Kirby Smart, Coach Saban, to close this recruitment on down. Garvin, nice little knock up the middle.
Starving Garvin.
Starving Garvin. Right, get that run, win by 2.
There you go.
Love it. What about Jordan Tooley?
What about him?
Stays with the Tooley. All
He
right.
does.
$5 donation.
Take you to school.
Morning, boys.
In a dually.
Morning, you, Jordan, or Jordan. Your guys' show's the best show in the biz.
Yeah, it is.
Quick question:
Okay.
Where do you guys see Power 5 conferences 10 years from now? So real
There won't be 5.
read the future.
Yeah, it's everybody talks about the 2 super conferences, and I know some people are tired of talking about realignment. We can talk about both. We can talk about realignment and fall camp. I see all over social media, like, we're not talking about realignment. Well, when Arizona and Arizona State and Utah are changing conferences in a day and you don't talk about it, I think I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't mention it, because that has a huge impact on the college football world. You don't have to harp on it too long. But I think we're going to Power 4. 10 years from now, I still think it'll be 4. I don't think we're going to be Fox taking on ESPN and then fighting the Klingons for interstellar domination within the next 10 years. I think we're going to have a Power 4 conference, 4 power conferences. My question is, what conferences merge? Like the Pac-12, you lose Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. It's not the Pac-12 anymore. You should lose your Power 5 status. You really should just merge with the Mountain West. I don't know, right? You have some teams going to the Big 12, some going to the Big 10. What you have left, just merge with the Mountain West. Then if you're the ACC and you hear Florida State wants to leave, and then Clemson leaves, then North Carolina leaves, and Virginia Tech leaves, who do you merge with then? Do you merge? You have some that'll go SEC, maybe some that'll go Big 10, and the leftovers, what do you merge with the AAC? Like, is that how it works? What I want to see is where the mergers are, right? That's what I find interesting.
I think we need to have fewer teams vying for more championships. That's the biggest thing for me. It's not like basketball. It's not where like St. Peter's can go on an epic run and maybe make it to the Final Four or something like that. Football is a completely different game.
Yep.
I think we need to have a Group of 5 championship. And as more of these teams, as Power 5 becomes, Power 2 essentially, and more of these traditionally Power 5 teams maybe become like Group of 5, whatever the terminology ends up being, we need to have championships for those. Now, some Group of 5 coaches disagree. We've heard both sides of the fences. But for instance, I come from Statesboro, Georgia, where Georgia Southern was vying every season for the Division I AA at that time championship. That was awesome because Georgia Southern's not going to win the national championship in Division I this year. I mean, we all know that. They may mess around and beat Wisconsin. That'd be fun.
Well, 99.9% of Group of 5 teams cannot win a national championship, and it may be 99.99%. We saw Cincinnati make the playoff, and then we see them get elevated into Power 5.
Well, maybe that's where a relegation system.
Maybe it is, but here's the thing: we're going to a 12-team playoff, right? So what does it hurt? And this is what I've said, and I'll continue to say this: why the hell, when you have a 12-team playoff, would you not say? Because I thought 8 would be the perfect number, but we have a 12-team playoff. Why would you not say we have a top 25 for the Power 5, we have a top 25 for the Group of 5? Whoever finishes number 1 at the end of the year. In the Group of 5, top 25, we put into the playoff. They don't necessarily have to be seeded 12th. You look at their strength of schedule, you judge them like every other team that you put in there. You have that one automatic bid. We basically have an automatic bid we're going to have an automatic bid for Power 5 conference winners. Why would we not have an automatic bid for the Group of 5 team that finishes number 1 in the top 25? Because that way at least one of them has a chance. And you know what? Maybe when you look at it, there's a bunch of Group of 5 teams that you don't have that 11 and 12 spot, and maybe 2 Power 5 teams that you don't have that 11 and 12th at large, where now you have the automatic bid from the Group of 5, and maybe one more sneaks in there.
Possibly, but again, that's just there are so many teams. I mean, what happens to all of the other schools?
Oh, well, they're
even
not
beyond Group of 5. Like, what happens to
saying
all
that
of
they
those
can't
other
win a
schools?
championship? Yeah.
I'm not even saying they can't. I'm just saying that what's going to happen as the TV money begins to just take off even more and more for the Big Ten and for the SEC. Right? Like we're seeing moves right now. Colorado's going and taking $31 million annually just to survive. That's half of what the SEC and the Big Ten schools are going to be making. See how frustrated Florida State is. Like these schools don't want to get left behind with money.
Yeah.
So, my thing is I want these schools to be able to legitimately have an opportunity to win championships. Maybe that is where a relegation system, maybe college football is the one sport in America that could utilize a European relegation system. So like you're talking about, well, if you're that best Group of 5 team, if you're a Tulane or Cincinnati, maybe you've made it up into that bigger conference for that next season. And if the worst one goes down, I don't know. I don't think that would happen just because they signed the TV deals so far in advance, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think we have to explore all options. That's what I think. All right, what else we got?
All right, let's explore some more options. And Cole Frink's got a couple of donations for us right here. $2 donations. Cole, thanks, brother. He says, LeBron is mid, MJ's a GOAT, and Blaine hit the over. Love that from you. Love the violence you're choosing this morning.
Don't use his name to try and get us to use it.
Yeah,
us. Another donation from Cole here, $2. Thank you, Cole. ESPN is mid, and Crain and Company is the GOAT. Baha.
Cole, now you're speaking facts.
Let's go to Troy Jacobs, $5 donation. The wife and I leveled up our marriage to level 10 today.
Congrats.
Can I get a shout out to my wife, Amy, for putting up with me for that long?
Amy, a decade of putting up with Troy. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Good for
the Oregon love I gave you this morning.
I mean, I haven't seen somebody put up with Troy that long since Achilles. That's pretty impressive.
Orlando Bloom blew it. Let's go to Heartbroken Hog, $5 donation. Happy FDF, boys.
Yes.
Did y'all see people saying that USC had some special deal with Kevin Warren that Oregon would be left in the Pac-12?
See, well, it was Mike Bohn, the previous AD at USC. Apparently there was this thing where if USC went to the Big Ten, you can't bring Oregon, which goes against, I think, what's in the best interest for the Big Ten trying to build that bridge. It's just kind of like a brothers, arguing over who's going to inherit the Bentley, when Pop kicks the bucket.
It's like Texas A&M. Texas A&M was the most mad about Texas coming into the SEC. They're like, no, we joined this conference because we didn't want Texas in it. No, you joined it because that's where you're going to get the most money. So USC can just get on board with getting the most money if that ends up happening.
Yeah, like look, and I get things go on behind the scenes, but I mean, y'all that scared?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are y'all scared of, man? Y'all are Southern Cal.
Look, if I'm Dan Lanning, I'm not trashing Colorado. I'm talking about Oregon about that. Talking about USC like that. Why y'all ducking the smoke?
Yeah.
Literally, pun intended. Wow, the way that worked out was good.
Ryan Hines, $2 donation. He says, NASCAR with a greater sign than fragile. Please don't touch my car. F1.
Yeah, F1 to me.
Don't touch it! Or Taylor Russell. He can touch it. $5 donation. If BYU gets the church involved in NIL, and they make a run at the title, Joseph Smith, let's go.
Yes.
There's an idea.
Yes.
There's an idea.
Again, what did I say was one of my top 3 non-conference scheduling
Don't
rules?
play religious school.
I don't play a school that's based on a religion. Nobody fights harder for longer than those guys. You think you want it? You think what you're playing for is important? How about the afterlife? Listen, you get the church money involved. That's like saying, hey, Vatican State's getting money. They're about to get everybody. I mean, they're giving the Holy Grail to defensive ends. Look, BYU, I think, and I got to ask this question. I went out there with my buddy Benjamin Criddle. They do a great job out there. Shout out to BYU. Got a lot of BYU listeners that watch Crain and Company. Was talking with him about projecting the new 4 teams in the Big 12, who has the brightest future, right? And I think when you look at the intermediate and the long term, it's hard not to look at Houston and BYU and say those two, right? Because BYU have such a capability to be able to obviously stick together and align together, but they do have really, really deep pockets. And they know the lay of the land and how to recruit. I think they can bring in talented enough players. BYU has a tradition of having talented enough players. But you mix that church money with some NIL, you can figure it out.
Gator wants some walking around money.
Let's go
to Ryan Smith, $5 donation. Ryan, thank you. Saying it now because I won't be able to say it later. Jets are the worst team in the NFL.
Okay.
You afraid of
I'm going to let you say that. I'm not going to say that because I think they got a chance to make the Super Bowl. But again, I saved my predictions till we get closer to the year. I need to find out who gets hurt. All right, let's get to this graphic. Booster Club, ask those questions. Remember, we got call-ins. All right, 1-855-236-3228. Any question you got, sports or life-related, but I really want to know which second-year head football coach in college is going to have the biggest year. So, Coney, you had a great idea about a graphic. Then it got graphic. Tell people what's up.
We put together a list here. We got 4 columns, 3 coaches each, all entering year 2. We're going to pick a column.
We're
going to pick a column. First column up, this is A. You got Lincoln Riley, Sonny Dykes, and Billy Napier.
Who's going to get the most wins, right?
Added up. All 3 of these guys added up to who gets the most wins in year 2 with their programs. Column B, Dan Lanning. We got Marcus Freeman. And we got Joey McGuire, friend of the show.
McGuire since Mark.
Column C, Brian Kelly, Mario Cristobal. We got Jim Mora Jr., who really turned UConn around last year, but their schedule, I'm going to read it off to you, no cupcake this year. And then the last one, column D, Brent Venables. We got Kalen DeBoer at Washington and Clay Helton Jr. down there, Georgia Southern.
This is my boy.
Yeah. So who's going first?
Boy. Flaming. It's Flaming Dragon Friday. Why don't you
just
do
get
the
to
honors,
volunteer
bud?
people out here?
Yeah.
David, should we volunteer Jake?
No, this is how this works.
No, you go first.
Yeah.
You go first.
Middle chair.
Fine, I'll go first. All right. Oh, God, middle chair.
Yeah. Greater.
I'm going to go with B. I'm going to go Dane Lanning, Marcus Freeman, and Joey.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Oregon, first of all, Oregon and Texas Tech play each other. So it's going to be a little bit of a double-edged sword there. But one, I like the quarterback rooms in each of these teams. All right. You bring back Bo Nix. Tyler Shover, Texas Tech, 5th-year guy. Obviously going to take a huge leap, I think, offensively for Texas Tech. I'm not worried about Texas Tech offensively. It's mostly defensively with them. Then Notre Dame, one of the biggest moves, I think, in the offseason, and that's Sam Hartman. What does Notre Dame do? I mean, you lose Michael Meyer at tight end, which is going to be a big piece that you're going to lose. But they usually have a guy always there. One of the best offensive lines in the country. Yep. You come up with the quarterbacks with one of the most experienced, and I don't think the system's going to hurt Sam Hartman at all. I think Sam's good enough.
No slow mesh.
Good enough as a player to adapt to a system. He's going to be under center. They're going to be running play action. I think that's going to be fine. And then Dane Lanning, I think Oregon's going to be one of the best teams in the Pac-12. You return Bo Nix for his 8th year in college football. You got a lot of great skill positions. You got to fix up front on offense, but Dan's going to do that. Did great in the transfer portal. So these 3 guys right here, I think Texas Tech, you can realistically talk about having a 9-win season. I think you can say the same thing for Notre Dame. Notre Dame's schedule's rough.
It is.
It's rough. It's not a great slate for Notre Dame, but I feel like they can win some games they're not supposed to win because of one guy, and that's Sam Hartman, the physicality they play with on both sides of the ball. And then you have Dan Lanning and the boys, and I think they're going to be playoff contention.
So you think all 3 of those teams could win 9 games? That gets you to 27.
Yeah.
Total. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I saw this, like my instinct was to take that one.
Column B?
That Flaming just took.
That's a solid column.
What are you thinking, Dave?
Huh? I'm going to go with column A. Lincoln Riley, Sonny Dykes, and Billy Napier. Let's start with Florida first because they have one of the toughest schedules in the country. We've been talking about this. I don't expect Florida to have a great year. To be honest, they're going to have to fight their way to even make a bowl game. But here's one of the things I do want to say. You're bringing in Graham Mertz, who we've talked about, is not the most exciting guy to be playing quarterback in the SEC, but he does have a lot of experience, okay? And he's going to be replacing Anthony Richardson, who we know went number 4 overall in the NFL draft. I do want to point out one thing with Florida's schedule here. You start with Utah on the road, but like we talked about this week, Cam Rising may not play that
Dark
game.
Knight Cam Rising.
Now, if Cam Rising doesn't play that game, I think I will likely still take Utah because they're such a good football team, but I took Utah last year and Florida won that game. Now, that one was in the swamp, but if Cam Rising doesn't play that game, you go to McNeese week 2. Okay, let's just say you figure out a way, you start 2-0. You've got Tennessee week 3 with Joe Milton starting at quarterback for them, and you get them in the swamp. And then after that, you get Charlotte. And that's before you go on the road and play Kentucky and the rest of the schedule. Obviously, they'll have Vanderbilt. They'll have Missouri in the SEC. So let's just say Billy Napier figures out a way to get to 6 wins, maybe even 7 wins somehow. TCU and Sonny Dykes, he went to the college football playoff last year. He's going to be replacing Max Duggan. But again, the schedule at the beginning, especially Colorado, Nicholls, Houston, SMU, West Virginia, Iowa State, BYU, all those games are winnable for TCU. Now, it gets back heavy for them when you start talking about Kansas State, Texas Tech, Texas, Baylor, and Oklahoma. That's a tough five-game stretch to end. But then Lincoln Riley, like I was saying in the opening, I mean, this guy can just flat out coach football. Yeah. 4 12-win seasons since he started being a head coach in college football. Last year, 11-3. He's going to bring back the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. I expect them to be better on defense. Now, the thing about their schedule is it's as tough in the back half as it is easy in the front half. The last 6-game stretch for USC is Notre Dame on the road, Utah home, Cal on the road. You are going to play Washington and Oregon this year, which they didn't last season.
That's in the back half?
And the Oregon games on the road, and then you finish with UCLA. That's the final 6 games. Now, that's a tough stretch, but the way I see it here, if this group could get to 25, 26 combined wins, I think that's a solid column.
Without a doubt. The one I picked is Venables, Kalen DeBoer, and Clay Helton. You look at Oklahoma's schedule. I don't think, and look, people are talking about Oklahoma, but I don't think enough people are talking about them being able to possibly go 10-2 and not have to be an elite team. This doesn't have to be the greatest Oklahoma team of all time to find a way to go 10-2 when you look at that schedule. Yeah, you got Texas, right, in the Red River Shootout. That's right. That's what I called it. I don't care what stupid name they give it now. It's the Red River Shootout. I think there's a legit chance Oklahoma will win 10 games. I mean, Dylan Gabriel, they've added to that defense. That was the biggest thing last year. They just didn't have the cats running around. I mean, that's why they gave up, so many big plays. And I think they gave up more third downs than any team in the country, something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous. Then you look at Kalen DeBoer. They're at Washington. You bring back Michael Penix Jr. Do I think the Pac-12 is going to cannibalize itself? Yes, I do, but I think there's a good chance that Washington can win 9 games. They're good enough to do that. So if Oklahoma can win 10, Washington can win 10, or to win 9, that puts you at 19. Georgia Southern in the Sun Belt, Will Hall and Southern Miss, they have an incredibly tough schedule. Really love what Will does over there. Kane Womack in South Alabama is going to be really good. I'm interested to see that. I think Georgia Southern has a chance to be really good. You see what they're returning. I think they're going to be pretty good up front. I think they're going to have a chance to compete in the Sun Belt. So if you could go 10, 9, and 8,
that'd win it.
It gets you about to 27, right? But Flaming, here's the thing when I look at Flaming Dragon's column that he picked. I think it all comes down to Joey McGuire and Texas Tech.
Yeah.
If they can get to 9 wins, Dan and them got a good shot to win the Pac-12. I agree with Tim Brando there. Now, they're not my pick yet. Haven't made my pick yet. But I think even with that tough schedule, Sam Hartman makes a big difference offensively. And then defensively, we know Marcus Freeman will have those guys ready to play. And I think the physicality, like we talked about earlier, is back at Notre Dame. But looking at this column that we didn't pick.
C.
Brian Kelly, Mario Cristobal, and Jim Mora Jr. Jim Mora Jr., like you said, I think him and Mike Elko did 2 of the best coaching jobs last year in college football. Mike Elko at Duke, Jim Moore Jr. at UConn. It's incredible what they did because UConn was absolute glizzy water the year before, and their roster was an absolute disaster. FEMA was having to send trailers and canned food to just try and get them to be able to win 3 games. But David, read their schedule if you don't mind.
This is UConn's schedule this year. NC State at home, on the road at Georgia State, Florida International at home, Duke at home, Utah State at home, at Rice, South Florida at home, at Boston College, at Tennessee, at James Madison, Sacred Heart at home, and then UMass at home.
I mean, can you get to 6?
And it'll be tough. I mean, Duke got a lot better at football.
They got Riley Leonard at quarterback. Who's nobody
playing on the road at Georgia State, that's no walk in the park.
James Madison?
James Madison's going to be perennially good.
That's another team that
you can go on the road to Tennessee, on the road to Boston College. So, and then on the Miami front with Mario Cristobal, we still haven't seen Tyler Van Dyke take that next step to be the type of quarterback that we heard he could be. So, even though I do think Miami will be better than they were last year, but that's the problem.
I think the Miami-Texas A&M game is one of the most intriguing games of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so weird seeing Miami down like this. It was so weird watching Tyler Van Dyke play the way he played last year with the season he had before that.
Yeah.
But you got to think, I mean, their offense only averaged, 21 points a game?
It was bad.
Last year.
I mean, Middle Tennessee State beat you like you stole something from them.
So, I mean, there's no way you don't see an improvement with the Miami football team on both sides of the ball, too, especially up front on the offensive line. That's what Cristobal's about, right? He's an upfront guy. All right, so, if anything, that's the problem that needs to be fixed. I think Tyler Van Dyke is good enough to win you a good amount of football games.
Yeah. Let us know which column you would take, A, B, C, or D. We think it's a fascinating question. Let's get to the Booster Club before we get to our NFL quick.
All right, Caitlin Everett, $10 donation. Thank you, Caitlin. She said, in honor of my level up day this weekend. Who was your favorite athlete to wear number 32? For me, it's a tie between Jim Brown, Magic Johnson, and me in high school basketball.
What was you? My answer is you, Caitlin. I would say give me Magic.
Magic.
Give me Magic. Happy birthday, too.
Let's go to Connor Ron. He says, Florida will be impacted by the elevation versus Utah. Yep. What's y'all's thought on that week 1 matchup, Utah-Florida?
I like, even if Cam Rising doesn't play, I like Utah. I want to see that spread if he doesn't. If Cam Rising does play, I like Utah big. But the reason I picked, and I've said this I think multiple times, the reason I picked Florida to win that game last year was because Utah was going to play in humidity. Elevation and humidity are 2 totally different things. You can play in elevation and be in great shape when the air's thin, and then you go down to a place like Gainesville, and the air's so heavy, and the humidity hits you, and it doesn't negate everything you've done. You're still in shape, but your body's not used to processing that when you're playing at that speed, at that level for that length. And that's why I picked Florida to win the game, on top of having some personnel and Anthony Richardson and guys like that. But if you look, Utah's puking halfway through the first quarter. They're throwing up Gatorade on the field. Well, I think the inverse is about to happen now. There's no way that Florida, who's basically at sea level in Gainesville, can train enough to be able to operate at the same level Utah is going to be operating at that elevation. So I think you're going to see a lot of cramps. You're going to see a lot of guys that aren't able to stay on the field for multiple snaps. And where it hurts you, I think, the most is defensively, especially with the way that Utah plays. Because when you get tired, you get weak. When you get weak, you fall into the trap that Utah wants you to fall into.
Let's go to Jackson Lewis. He wants to know, is Keaton Slovis a step up at BYU, and what is their ceiling?
Well, again, and it's something that we talked about. Our friend Jim Nagy at SEC Media Days, we talked that a lot of guys are high on Keaton Slovis' arm talent, and I agree. I mean, the guy can make every throw. The biggest thing with Keaton Slovis, the 2 biggest things, 1, can you stay healthy?
Can you stay healthy?
Can you stay healthy? And 2, are you going to stand in the pocket and be able to take it in the teeth and still deliver the ball? Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. One of the best quarterback coaches that I ever worked with, that one of the main things they would look at with a high school quarterback is, will they stay in there and take a hit to deliver the ball? Some guys will shy away from it. You find out a lot, and David, you played the position. Some guys will shy away from that, but that's a big deal. Will Keaton Slovis stand in there? And it's not putting yourself in harm's way for no reason, but you got a guy running the post and he's got 2 steps on the guy, and you have a free blitzer coming. Do you have the guts to stand in there and deliver a good ball and know you're going to get drilled right in the teeth? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm seeing, and that can bring a team together.
Oh, yeah.
You talk about the film room. I mean, David, you know better than anybody.
No doubt, man. My dad used to tell me the crowd will let you know whether or not you completed the pass. You just take the hit, and you'll find out soon enough. Don't worry about looking where the ball went afterwards.
And it's easier said than done, but that's my biggest thing with
Yeah, and I hope he can stay healthy
I hope
because
he
he's
can.
very accurate. You know, I mean, he has a strong arm, all that stuff. So
All right, let's go to Coffee Guy with the $2 donation. Appreciate it. He says, Dark Horse Heisman winner that nobody talks about. I got one.
Dark Horse Heisman winner. Yeah, give me one. I'll take, give me that nobody's talking about. Give me Jaquindon Jackson from Utah, speaking of.
that no one has said their name in
Yep,
relation
give me
to the Heisman
Jaquindon
Trophy.
Jackson, just out of
How
nowhere.
about our
Utah.
boy Quinshon Junkins?
Ole Miss?
Yeah.
I like
He
that.
goes for 2 bills this year
I like
as a
that.
sophomore. What did he rush for? 1,500?
Ole Miss gonna have to win. How many would Ole Miss have to win? 9?
You can't win more than 3 to me. What Robert Griffin won the Heisman Trophy when they went 9-3 at Baylor.
Yeah, so you can't
something
lose
like
more
that.
than 3. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, I probably have to get to 9 at least. But what do you have? 1,500 yards as a freshman, something
Look,
like that.
man, he's such a great interview too. Just such a mature guy. Not a kid. I didn't want to call him a kid. I was talking to a grown man. That was an adult. The way he handled his business. All right, Uno Mas, which is German for one more.
I'll do mine.
Oh, did you not say yours yet?
No, I didn't.
Whoops.
I'd probably say Will Shipley from Clemson.
Really?
Yeah, I would say Will Shipley because, I mean, they're going to run it a lot with him, especially with
Yeah.
the quarterback.
I could see that.
Let's go to Travis Elrod, hashtag Ask Crain & Co. How long will the Big 12 be considered third fiddle behind the Big 10 and SEC, and can they elevate to their level?
No, well, there's a reason Brett Yormark and them are not shifting, but making basketball the forefront of what they're doing because the Big 12 can be the best conference in the country in basketball. Now that you're losing Texas and Oklahoma, and even if you still had them, I don't think you're overtaking the SEC and the Big 10 in football. I just don't think it's doable. I think you try your best, that you make the best decisions. I think he's been calculated and aggressive at the same time. I call it calculated aggression, shocker there. But the Big 12 can be the most dominant basketball team. Look at the teams you're adding, right? Look at the teams you're talking about adding. Arizona, right? Like, I mean, the Big 12, Kansas, Texas Tech, you can go down the list, can be the best basketball conference in the country. They cannot be the best football conference in the country. But that's not saying that the Big 12 isn't important or the Big 12 isn't super duper awesome. But I think it's a smart move by Brett Yormark, who's a smart guy. But speaking about guys, are you ready to boost your testosterone, get your old self back? With our sponsor, Nugenix Total T is offering you a complimentary bottle. Let me say that again. Is offering you a complimentary bottle when you text 231-231 and you enter the keyword Crain. So where you put the phone number, you do 231-231 and enter the keyword CRAIN because Nugenix is the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone-boosting brand. You see, Flaming Dragon's Insane Muscles, they tried to get me to say it. Flaming Dragon's Insane Muscles, that a lot of people are jealous of, that's what everybody in the city's saying.
Truth.
It's with the help of Nugenix. Show him, Flaming. Let's see it. Flex on him one time.
Look at that,
Flex and bust
man.
out. Oh, give it to him. Adonis.
Total T.
Oh, God, I'm rip everybody apart on this set.
I'm totally teeing right now. Nugenix Total T contains key man-boosting ingredients like testofen. Okay? Listen,
Testofen.
you don't have to be a scientist to figure this out. You get low T when you get older. Testosterone. Okay? It affects everybody, regardless of how jacked and tan or how many push-ups or pull-ups you can do. It doesn't matter. So, our friends over at Nugenix, like I said, they have an answer. And right now, you can get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, like I said, when you text 231-231 and enter the keyword Crain, C-R-A-I-N. And my favorite thing to read, get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest and most powerful fat incinerator. I went from fat to flat with key ingredients to help you lose weight fast and get lean fast. Absolutely free, because that fat is out of here, mister.
I'm feeling skinny, Tony.
And feelings and slide and glide. So text 231-231 and enter keyword Crain. That's 231-231 and enter keyword Crain. I want to enter keyword NFL quick hits right now.
All right, boys. Jets, Browns finally got some football action. Hey, Zach Wilson got a little action, 3 for 5. On
Z-Dub?
the other end, Kellen Mond, man, 13 and 19. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 8 for 11 for the Browns. Browns took this one 21-16. Your first thoughts on the NFL season?
Just glad football was back. A lot of flags, a lot of penalties thrown early in the game last night. The Jets, were offsides, it seemed like every single play. But look, football's back. It could have been a lot of points scored. You know, I took the under. I went 1-1 last night, and I didn't realize DTR was going to translate that well. It was like the Rosetta Stone of preseason quarterbacks. But anyways, I tell you what, Zach Wilson made a really good throw on a deep ball. Once you get toward the end, you bring in, the guy who was like a mailman for a while and then, went and made the team, a Vince Papale situation. But I thought Zach looked good. I thought the Aaron Rodgers interview was pretty cool. I will say this, though. I love listening to the Hall of Fame guys and all the interviews, but can we two-box it so I can see the game? Like, last night, they kept going to these interviews. They weren't showing the game, and then they'd flip right over when the ball was snapped.
I thought the same thing.
Like, do both.
I'm happy for those guys, man.
Oh, I'm super happy. I love listening to Zach
say.
Thomas and them. I'm not saying don't do the interviews, but can we two-box this thing? Like, goodness gracious, if I want to watch a bunch of interviews, then with the first football game of the year, I'm trying to see the formation. I'm trying to see the motion. I'm trying to see what Nathaniel, I couldn't hack it at the Broncos, is putting together over there, what he's smelling over there. Like, can we do both, please? It's my only critique. But it was,
Your thoughts,
it was a lot
Flaming?
of
Oh,
fun.
man, it was fun. It was good to have football on. It was fun to watch a bunch of quarterbacks who'll never play in this league. Except DTR, he has a chance.
What do you think about Kellen Mond? I don't think Kellen looked horrible.
I think he looked like Kellen Mond, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's a good third string. Yeah, we'll probably keep him there. Good for him. You need guys like that. Look what Chase Daniel did.
Well, he went Helen Kellen last night.
That is true. Who is that? Is that a real person?
I don't know. She flew a plane.
Have a real conversation about her not being a real person. But it was great to watch. Hey, Browns, can we learn how many people we can have on the line of scrimmage?
Yeah.
All right.
Man.
Step one, let's figure that out, and then we can move on from that. But it's always fun to watch, especially when games like this, you're watching late round picks.
Yeah.
Right in the draft, which is always a good time. But man, it just feels good. I love how Stefanski came out. Like first 3 plays ran screens because the defense is smart, just keyed up, ready.
But see, like, do you? Why would you do it? Well, like, why would you do it in the preseason though? Like, why wouldn't you wait till week 1? I'm talking about run the screen early. Because now you put that on tape. Mm-hmm. So the first team you play week 1's like, hey, watch out for the screen.
Yeah, but
because in the preseason it doesn't matter. But the thing I don't care. Play one.
But it's a timing.
Defense can't help them.
They can't listen. I'm a defensive guy. Play 1 of the season. Oh, the guys in the D line are like,
yeah.
It's like Bilo one day break cave.
Middle screen.
It's like Switowski.
If it was me, I'd probably run screen 80% of the.
I don't know why teams don't run tight end hide or tight end delay at least twice a game in the red zone. It always works. It blows my mind.
The Browns gonna be good.
You think so?
Browns gonna be good, man.
Deshaun, we got to see.
Yeah,
we'll see, man. All right, next one up. The Titans cut right tackle Jamarco Jones. He was taking first-team reps. He got into several altercations during practice. They cut him. Last year's starter at that position suspended for 6 games. We know our boy on the left side, Taylor Lewan, also released by the Titans. Are you guys worried at all about the offensive line situation here in Tennessee?
A little bit, but I'm more worried that Ryan Tannehill's the quarterback. That's what I'm worried about the most. So he got cut because of getting in fights in practice as the starter?
Yeah, and I think back blocking maybe, even more than fights.
So you were the starter and it was so bad they cut you? It must have been...
Vrabel said, we don't want to practice like that. We talk all the time about being competitive and going to that line and certainly not going to do anything that hurts the team. We don't want to see that.
That's...
it's bad if you're cutting a starter.
Thursday's altercation happened after a crackback block on linebacker Chance Campbell. A fellow linebacker got in Jones's face, and the two had to be separated, and Jones was ejected from practice.
Okay, this must be like some serial thing that keeps happening because, man, if that was the case, then...
You got to do a lot in this league to get thrown out, especially if you're
something, it smelled like, what else is going on? Like,
there has to be something.
There has to be something else.
You got to be worried about it if you're the Titans, right? One, you're worried about your quarterback room to a certain extent. You're worried about Ryan Tannehill. You're worried about Will Levis. You're worried about Malik Willis, who's really going to be that guy. Then you bring in DeAndre Hopkins. It's a great piece to bring in, but it's not a great piece if you can't block for him. You got a quarterback who's a mediocre thrower.
Yeah.
You got Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins, 2 top-tier skill positions in the NFL, but it's all going to fall apart because you're not going to have guys up front. And when Tennessee was great, what were they? They were great up front on both sides of the ball, right? You have to be that good to make it to the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback. So I think it's a big loss for the Titans. We'll see how they bounce back from it.
I want to jump to some reactions here. You sent me this Nick Saban press conference photo.
Yeah.
Do we have that photo?
So
Can you bring that up.
So yesterday, and this is why we say win the water cooler. And I get it. The season's coming. Fans get excited. make a lot of noise about certain things. Yesterday, you had a bunch of people in sports media and fans on social media. Nick Saban's having fun. Everybody's in trouble now. This means absolutely nothing, okay? Because here's why. If Nick Saban would have been pissed off yesterday and doing typical what Nick Saban, you know what they'd have said? Nick Saban's back in his bag. He's pissed off. Everybody's in trouble. So either way, fans of this team are going to say, oh, this is great, whether he's mad or whether he's sad. And people that are fans of other teams are going to trash it. And it's fun. Okay, I get it. This is what social media is built for. I don't know. Did somebody crack a great joke? Did some person trip and fall in front of everybody and everybody's just pointing and laughing? I don't know. But the people on the people who are like, and I don't mean talking about fans, right? Fans short for fanatical, I get it. But like the people in sports media, they're like, so Saban's smiling at a press conference. How about this? Who's the quarterback? You're replacing the left tackle. So again, if he was mad, you'd say everybody's in trouble because Saban's pissed off and he's going to get him right. He's not messing around this year. But if he's laughing, oh, he's having a good time. Nick Saban's relaxed. He must really like what he saw after day one. You think Nick Saban likes what he saw after day one? Here, if you think that, there's some beachfront property in Kansas I can get you for a price that will blow your mind, and it's not even in the metaverse.
I just like to see the guy smile, man.
No, for sure. It's definitely terrifying. 100%. I'd rather see Nick Saban pissed because that's what I'm used to seeing.
I wouldn't.
This scares me. It's awesome, but it scares me. That looks like a guy who might have his quarterback room figured out.
Or does that look
that
like
might be a guy who looks like a guy who's got his quarterback room figured out.
Or does that look like a guy that may not, not that he doesn't have that gear in him anymore. Maybe at this point he's like, look, I'm super rich. Like I'm on, kind of toward the back end.
I think we would have seen it after the first couple championships.
So you think Nick Saban, after day one of practice, after you had to bring in Tyler Buckner, you're replacing a left tackle, you lost Will Anderson Jr., not that Bama isn't talented, and who the hell knows, they could run the table and go undefeated, but they're not going to do it because Nick Saban was smiling after a press conference.
No, I don't think that either. I just...
What if before this he was really upset and just unloaded and got off his chest and now he's happy?
Now he's happy about that. And someone gave him a little Debbie.
Or maybe he pulled a muscle in his leg and he stepped right and it put back in place. Now he realized he done got to hobble his ass all the way to the car.
Or this could just be Photoshopped. That might be what it is.
No, this is real. This is 100% real.
Yeah. Check the, you got the Kanye news.
Hey, deep fake.
Deep fake.
All right. Performance drugs in the Olympics. Sounds like it's launching in 24. Flaming, tell us about this.
I'm trying to fix sports. All right? Baseball.
So you're behind this?
Baseball, fighting, and steroids. All right?
You're just this.
If you want to see humans at their top tier athletic abilities, okay, why wouldn't you have steroids in the Olympics? All right? I want to see you jump 70 feet.
So this.
All right? I want to see you throw things miles and miles. Like, I want to see how far we can push this body. All right? That's the only way you unlock true potential, Dave. You push it to the max.
Blaine's like Tom Cruise in Top Gun. Okay, that's one.
That's
one.
one.
My fault. He wants to go to the extreme. You know when Tom Cruise is like taking that plane at the beginning, like Mach 10 or whatever? But this is a different Olympics. This isn't going to replace the Olympics.
It should.
It's why not have both?
Huh?
Why not have both?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess we have NBA and WNBA. I mean, you can have both. But I'm telling you,
that comparison
if this was on at the same time, regular Olympics, steroid Olympics.
I know what I'm watching.
What you watching?
I know, I'm watching steroid Olympics.
Here, David, be nice and pure and say something
It
bad.
doesn't matter what I feel like watching it. So, to me, when I view athletics, I think of, the goal is to get in peak physical shape, peak physical condition, to train and be like the best that you can possibly be. It ruins that when you have to put things in your body that are actually bad for you. In the long run, like, isn't the whole point of sports and athletics is to be like, man, I'm at my peak physical condition right now.
I feel like bad for you is such a loose term. Are we sure this is bad for us? Certain levels, there's certain levels that doesn't hurt you, right? All right, if a person makes that decision, isn't everything bad in life good? Right? Everything bad in life good? I didn't know you were a doctor,
right,
Dave.
Yeah.
Dr. Dave.
Here's what I'll say, and I saw some people yesterday saying, oh, well, this is going to have bad side effects for the athletes to do it. Listen, nobody's forcing you to do this. They're not like going and grabbing a bunch of 12-year-olds from the Ukraine and like starting to inject them with steroids and run them around.
Yeah,
right.
wait till he's in charge.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get Operation Pedidexterity approved.
That's totally different. See, that's
that is
good.
totally different.
That's good.
That is
that's
totally
about
different.
a country
That is totally
developing
different.
a new skill set,
But
not ruining their body.
Yeah, well, that's true. But we'll see what science does in 7-8 years. We got time. So, but my thing is if you choose to do that, right? I would rather. I'm actually with Flaming here. If you said, Jake, you can watch normal Olympics, or you can watch 8 Usain Bolts out there, like that may have cheated a little bit for it, but they're out there running 45 miles an hour.
It won't even be Usain Bolt. You'll be watching The Flash.
The Predator. Yeah.
You'll be watching.
Is this the start of like A-Train and the boys?
Like this is how it'll be a galactic federation who comes down and watches this.
You know how I really
We'll bring
want to
other
talk
people
to?
from the southern
I want to talk to Arnold Schwarzenegger about this
Talk to
because
Mark McGuire
he's on record about or Mark McGuire too, but Arnold Schwarzenegger's on
We need to
record
hit up
for having
Dave
used
Dana.
steroids, and he opened up about it in the documentary that we reviewed on YouTube, and saying, look, most of what you saw from me when I was physically fit, that was 95% me in training and diet and sleep and all that kind of stuff. 5 to 8 to 10% was the steroids that I was using.
have it.
I'd like to talk to him about it and just see, like, how were you feeling when you were taking these? How much did it actually help your physical physique and your fitness? And then how did you feel later in life after taking them?
How crazy would it be boxing, just 2 Arnolds just in there just throwing mitts?
No, I'm telling you, like you could realistically take all the sports right now. All right.
Not sport. No.
Copy the sport, make steroids legal, and everybody will watch it.
Okay, I'm talking about Olympic sports. I don't want Major League Baseball to do it. I don't want golf to do it. Whatever like that.
I do.
John Brinkus already said that you don't hit the baseball farther with steroids.
Well,
it
you know
helps
what?
your hand-eye coordination.
I don't know.
And you're the one
John
who
Brinkus.
said you believe anything John Brinkus says. So.
I do believe anything John Brinkus says, but I don't believe that was right.
All right, you get yourself out of that one, pretzel boy.
Oh my goodness.
Pretzel boy, that's what I'll call you.
Oh my
on
goodness. Hey,
Friday.
remember, we have
Pretzel
calls,
boy.
live calls, 1-855-236-3228. We'll talk about whatever.
All right, a couple more here before we
marriage,
get
whatever.
to a couple more here before we get to calls. Bishop Sycamore High.
Yes.
It's going to be a documentary
Is it called BS High?
called BS High. Just such a great title.
I'm gonna watch. And I'm gonna reserve. I want to see the whole story because obviously we read the reports. I want to see the whole story before I render judgment on the guys that were running it. I just want to see the whole story because there may be some a silver lining in there for at some points. There may not be, but I'm super excited to watch this. We got the Untolds coming out August 8th with Johnny Bands and the boys, Swamp Kings. There's a lot of good content coming in football month.
You got any thoughts over there?
Huh?
Or do you want me to just get to the next one? Because we have a real Free Willy situation over here.
No.
I don't know if you guys heard about it. There's
You talking about Irsay?
I'm talking about Colts owner Jim Irsay.
Yeah.
A real
You found Free Willy?
Kind of.
He's
going
freedom?
Look, this is allegedly.
Sasquatch situation.
Jim Irsay, the Colts owner, plans on spending $20 million to fly a 4-ton whale to freedom after 53 years at the Miami Sea Aquarium.
They're going to get
$20 million. And obviously the reason this made big news is because currently
Flying a tanker.
his running backs want to be paid more money, and he says no.
Look,
Oh, the running back hadn't spent 53
Jonathan
years
Taylor-
inside of the Miami Ocean Aquatic
you can
Center.
hit a
another
hole
good point.
harder, JT or Free Willy.
Yeah.
Free Willy, yeah.
Look, this is. It just must be nice. And I don't know if this is a tax write-off or not, or, here.
You got to talk to my accountant.
Yeah, it must be nice to be able to drop 20 mil.
20 mil to
20
Free
mil.
Willy.
How did Jim Irsay make his money? Oil? Is it oil?
Oh!
He invent like
How
fruit
all-
roll-ups or something?
Let me see.
We need to look that up.
I'm on it.
But 20 million. Okay, how much does it cost to fly a whale to freedom? 20 mil. That's a big fish, man.
Well,
You better not drop it. You better not. I know they're gonna. Here's the thing: how much it costs to trank that thing to be able to make sure he doesn't wiggle its way off and land like somewhere in the middle of San Diego?
So his father, Robert Irsay, built a fortune through heating and air conditioning companies.
What, he invent it? Damn.
He invented AC.
He invented air conditioning and heating. He said, "Man, let's make it colder and let's go to the cold places and make it hotter. And let's do both."
20
Well,
mil.
20 mil to Free Willy.
So Jim Irsay just got daddy's money, huh?
Well, sure he invested in some good things.
Say it,
after that.
David.
Just say it.
I'm
Look at the
looking right
camera
now.
and save it.
Yeah.
I'm looking right
He
now.
get
I don't
disappeared
know.
real quick. Oh, David shot himself from behind.
He has a degree in broadcast journalism.
Hey.
And he's the owner of the Colts.
Played linebacker at SMU.
Yeah.
Walk on.
Yeah.
Ankle
Wonder how
injury
he got
ended
on
the
that.
career.
Wonder how he got on that team.
Yeah.
No, listen, I don't know Jim Irsay. I would like to. I'd love for him to spend $20 million with us hanging out.
Look, I'll take half.
Look, I'll take $1 million.
I'll take half.
Speaking though, before we get to calls, all right, make sure that I'm sure the line's already jammed, especially consider it's Friday.
It is.
But here's a little preview of what we have coming up: Sports Movie Bracket with Ben Shapiro.
Here we go.
Field of Dreams, arguably not a sports movie.
Big Lebowski, a bowling movie.
Yeah, not a bowling movie.
100% a
Not
bowling
yet.
movie.
So 61 is wildly underrated and maybe the best baseball movie. We'll see.
All right, how about Miracle versus Mighty Ducks?
A Miracle is great.
The Natural's not only my favorite film on this list, maybe my favorite film of all time.
This is another juicy matchup right here in round one. Where are you leaning?
It's the wrong call, but I'll go Angels in the outfield here.
We go Angels in the outfield. I think Bull Durham's a mediocre movie.
Okay, so my problem with Bull Durham is that everything that has to do with Kevin Costner and Tim Robbins is great, except for Tim Robbins throwing the ball. He can't. Like Gina Davis is throwing the ball harder in a league of their own.
You can't every time. All right, so Space Jam is getting a bye.
How does Space Jam get a bye?
Yeah, what the? Waterboy versus Kingpin.
There are very few movies I hate as much as Waterboy.
Really? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun.
Cannot wait.
Bracket Challenge, Sports Movie Edition with Ben Shapiro. Make sure you catch that. Some great stuff. We could have put 100 movies. We could have done like a bracket full of 300.
I know.
But it was tough to make some of the cuts, but I think we figured it out.
Yeah.
But speaking of figured it out, let's get to the phone lines.
All right,
boys.
so we're at 2 right now, right? Is that what it is? Or
No, 1. We're at
Yeah,
1.
we're at 2. You said it twice. You said Blaine, and then you started the sentence, and then said Blaine again.
Yeah.
I swear,
That's
if you
okay.
say collusion, I watched it.
We're under.
Well, you can roll the tape, but no, we're gonna watch the tape. Believe me,
Okay.
there'll be, and there may be a letter, and there could possibly be fines and punishments.
You know, we got our boy Wyatt in here from Austin, Texas. Wyatt, do you think there's a collusion situation going on right now with Flaming Dragon?
Oh, there's always collusion no matter where you go.
Exactly.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
What's going on this morning, fellas? I can't tell if I'm watching Crain and Company or a game of ankles.
Yeah, listen, you get both
we
here.
roll, baby.
Drink it in.
Yeah,
Stones
you
hot
drink
water
it
pants.
in.
Wide. It always
Don't act
goes
like you're
down
not
smooth.
impressed. I did over 1,000.
$10 a month.
Well, hey, life's been tough here on the ground outside of the trust tree after I got kicked out for talking about Blaine's barber. But you know what? I realized.
Listen, well, you're always there because again, we pull you back up. You know, we
Why?
can skyhook.
Who
we can
kicks you out?
We can skyhook Kirk from Canada. We can get you back in the trust tree.
You kicked me out, bro.
Yeah, I know. You watch yourself. All right,
You
why?
tried to kick someone out of the
But now he's back in. Look, he's sometimes, you know.
realized
he's not
you look
back
over
in.
on
You
that
never
bet
left.
board. You look over on that bet board, just right above that beautiful spinning helmet. It says Tall Riot, so I'm always in the trust tree, bro.
Tall Riot,
Always,
baby.
right.
Always,
Tell him.
Always
You're right.
in here.
You're
Still
right.
one of my favorite video submissions ever after making the Hall of Fame.
But I got a question. With all this realignment is, it's centered around football, as it should be. But what other sports are we going to see suffer because of it?
Man, it's one of the things I don't think we talk about enough because obviously football season is coming up. Football's the big money maker. We talked a little bit about college basketball and adding these teams. When you look at the teams that get added, you can't just look at the football aspect of it. I'll give you a great example. The Big 12 adding Houston. Look at what Kelvin Sampson and Houston and them have done. You look at UCLA going to the Big 10 now. I mean, even USC with Andy Enfield. Then you look at like softball. Look at Oklahoma going to the SEC. They're already the best conference. I mean, Patty Gasso and them are absolutely building a monster out there. So I think a lot of the things we talk about with like Oregon and Washington going to the Big Ten and building that bridge are and helping out USC and UCLA, it's not for football travel, right? It's for the smaller sports. You play more games, right? Some of these sports, you play double the games, triple the games than you do in football. Which
During
means
the week, too.
During the week, which means double the travel, triple the travel, baseball as well. So it's all encompassing, and that's why these decisions, it's almost like with the military and technology, right? We get what the military's already had for 30 years. They had Google Maps for 30 years and that ability before we even got it. We just hear about the movement that happens. These talks have been going on for a long time because you don't just call up one day and say, guess what? we're moving. This isn't, hey, you got hired by another company and you got to move, or the military, you just got moved to another base and they call you that day and say you got to go or get ready, you got to go. These are long negotiations because you got Title IX involved. You got so many things that are involved. It's a great point.
I still think those smaller sports, they'll be more affected by money than they will the realignment. Because as more and more money goes to the college football players and the college basketball players, there's going to be less money for golf and for water polo and things like that.
I wonder,
does bring up the Title IX issues.
Yeah, I do wonder, though, because I think the small sports, especially women's sports, have benefited the most from NIL. I wonder if there's some sort of balance or happy medium that's achieved with NIL in the smaller sports. Like you look at
They've benefited
gymnastics.
most from traditional NIL. When you talk about like the Haley Van Lith or what some of the other girls, Angel Reese, Livy Dunn, those girls have benefited from what NIL was truly supposed to be. They're getting sponsorships, right? Yep. That's not for the girls down for the collectives getting paid. Yep. They're not paying those girls to be recruited to those schools.
Yeah,
so
I get it.
It's a little different.
I get it.
Wyatt, we appreciate it, man.
Hey, thanks,
for
brother.
calling in, buddy.
We appreciate you.
Why don't we stay in Texas and go to Texas Ed? What you got going on, Texas Ed?
Eduardo, what's up?
Morning, fellas.
Morning.
First, Jake, to answer the question that you asked me in All Access yesterday about Tim Brando, I'm like Bill Belichick. I'm moving on to Cincinnati.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
The hate.
Look, the relationship between Texas and Tim Brando, it's like Batman and the Joker. It's great.
Just want to let y'all know I went a deep dive into some stats for college football rivalries, and I just wanted to let y'all know what I pulled up on what the best rivalry in college football is by the data.
Ooh, so like win-loss, or like attendance, or what was the parameters here?
The parameters are, we all understand that the rivalries are best when both teams are 9+ wins on the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and looked at how many years both teams had 9+ wins and how many years it was 2 or more in a row that they had 9+ wins when they had the games going. So I'm going to start with the Iron Bowl because I know y'all love Auburn. So overall, there were 3 times consecutive years that both teams had 9 or more wins consecutive when going through the Auburn Bowl. The last time was in '83.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, '93.
Yeah, that's right.
For USC Notre Dame, 9+ wins for USC all time, 38. Notre Dame 44. Number of times consecutive years of 9+ wins was 3.
Okay.
Red River Shootout. Texas has 40 years of 9+ wins. Oklahoma has 48. Consecutive times where they had 9 or plus wins for the season, 3.
Wow. There's a pattern developing here. Yeah.
It's very hard to have both teams with 9 or more wins consecutive going into these games.
Yep.
And now we have the gold standard for college football rivalries, and we're in the golden age of it right now. Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan, 56 years of 9 or more wins. Ohio State, 56 years of 9 or more wins.
Wow.
Consecutive times of consecutive years, 2 or more, 8 times.
Wow.
5 times more than every other rivalry that I looked up. And I went so far as the Holy War, the Civil War, went through several rivalries, and the game is the gold standard.
Wow.
Well, that's to me, I think, when we're looking at what the best rivalry, obviously, which is the most competitive is a huge portion of that. Not all of it, but it's a huge portion of that. But how ironic is it that we're saying that that's the most competitive rivalry when Ohio State had just won, 12 in a row?
9.
9 in a row, and now Michigan, in my opinion, is about to win 3
Michigan
in a row.
didn't play them in the COVID year, would have likely been 10 straight.
Yeah.
Texas Ed, I find that statistic fascinating.
That
and
is
thank you for sharing that with us. Even though I don't think that should be the top parameter for determining which rivalries are best. Because one of the things about these great rivalries, when you talk about Michigan and Ohio and you talk about the Iron Bowl and the Red River Shootout, is the most fun years are when the team that is not doing well and hasn't won 9 games beats the team that is undefeated or 11-0, 12-0 going into that game. Those are the years where you really get to see what the rivalry is all about.
And you know what Texas said? I tell you what, on Monday, if you got time to call in, I don't know. If you want to do another deep dive, look into those same rivalries and see how many times the team with the worst record of the two won the game. That'd be fascinating.
That would be another
to match up the stats you just gave us with that other. Are we coming together like a formula? Are we
like
putting together
that.
like a formula here?
Yeah, let us know, Texas Ed, because if we can put that together. And plus, this is a volume stat too, right?
For sure,
So
for sure.
the longer the rivalry has gone on, the more chances you have.
Well, we could
So that
cut it.
plays
We
into
could put it all starting the same year. Like find a year to start it, where at least we're starting from a variable that's the same, or not a variable, a number that's the same, right?
Put a little rivalry playbook together.
I like this. Texas Ed, I think
Nice
we
job,
started
Texas
somebody.
Ed.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
you,
man.
bud.
All right, Ben in Missouri. Ben, what's going on?
Hey guys, it's Bearcat here. Happy Flaming Dragon Friday.
Of course.
Love to hear from you.
Bow to your sensei.
Yeah, so a little update here. I'm actually going to UMKC for law school now here in Missouri because
Nice.
Congratulations.
saved me quite a bit of money here. So
Yeah, so I know who to call.
Yeah, as the only bad part is that as a diehard Broncos fan, I'm having to go from just outside the kingdom to in the middle of it.
Yeah,
And-
you got a Trojan horse them though. Hey, it's a gift. Hey, it's a gift. Oh no, I'm hanging out with Patrick Mahomes. Whoops.
Yeah, I mean, my parents went to a playoff game one time, and they were able to go into that area where you can see the players walk out. And so my dad, who's a diehard Broncos fan, his company is having him go with a client to go see him. And so he's seeing Travis Kelce at the podium and all this other stuff. But he's just like, it was cool, but it was also like, of all the teams to see, it has to be the team I hate the most.
Yeah, that's how it works, though. That's exactly how it works.
Exactly. I mean, we've been to Broncos camp. We have stuff signed by John Elway and Peyton Manning. So I guess it all, works out. But yeah, so I'll get right into it here. So, of course, I was reading on, Twitter or X or whatever Elon wants to call it in 3 weeks, about, reports that Arizona has already been accepted by the Big 12 to go in there and the Board of Regents was going to talk it over. So I know this conference realignment stuff is super fascinating. So I kind of have two things. I know that, Jake, we've all been talking about, the 16-team format, and I really like it when teams are able to play everybody because that home and away is something where, a fan has the opportunity to take a road game to a different city that maybe they've never been to. But if conferences go past 16 teams and that scheduling format is kind of not viable with not extending the season, I mean, that would be the only other option. How would you think they would do it if there's more than 16 teams? And then do you think that these conferences are going to do some rebranding so that it doesn't appear that they can't do basic math?
Listen, when it comes to the rebranding, I think you're just going to see much more generic terms. That's why it's the Southeastern Conference is perfect, right? You just change it to but see, like with the Big Ten, you can't change that to hey, we're the Midwest, kind of Northeast a little bit, because then you got USC and UCLA. That's why I said you got to change it to the Big Time Conference or something like that. You already did losers and leaders, so I mean, everybody already made fun of you once. Or legends and leaders or whatever the hell it was. Whatever 13-year-old y'all let etch-a-sketch that idea. Here's what happens. The more teams that you're going to add, we're going to stop having non-conference games. You don't have to. You have 12 regular season games, right? Some conferences have 8 games in conference. Some conferences have 9. Well, you have 20 teams now. Well, it's going to be like the COVID year. Eventually, that's what it's going to turn into. It's just all conference games. Hell, we did it before in 2020. So to me, that's the only answer, right? Because they're not going to extend the season. You're not going to extend the playoff to 12 teams, which adds more games, and then extend the regular season, and then come here and talk about player safety. No. So we'll get non-conference games taken away, which is going to hurt some of these smaller schools that rely on, the Samfords and some of these, directional schools that go play the big dogs and get a paycheck. Hell, when I was coaching at South Alabama, we went up to Tennessee and they dropped the bag on us. we should have won the game. That's a story for another day. So I think you just take away non-conference games. I think that's the answer.
So be sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you think they'd take away the group of 5, or they would have a group of 5 championship, because if the group of 5 schools aren't going to get the chance to get the bag dropped on them, they'd probably have their own championship. Because if you're not going to be playing any Power 5 schools, that's money that's not coming in, and you're going to have to make that up somehow.
Well, and it hurts your resume if you do want to make the playoff.
Well, Ben, one of the things, and we just talked about this in the opening segment, because I was saying how great it would be to have a group of 5 championship, is some of these group of 5 coaches, like I think it was your boy, Coach Vincent, came on and said, actually, it's better for us to be able to play outside of a group of 5 championship because we make more revenue from that. So I don't know if they could figure out a way to do both, but you're right on the money here with this scheduling problem, because you're going to have a math problem eventually, and especially if you take away divisions, which every conference now is taking away divisions, you're not going to be able to play everybody. The math just doesn't work. So thank you, Ben.
Well, Ben, good luck in law school, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, man. Kyle in Cleveland. What's going on, Kyle?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I got some good news for you guys.
Okay.
Miracle Grove, by the way, is my
What's up? What's up?
name.
Grove.
So college strength coach and track throwing coach. I just landed my first Power 5 assistant coaching position.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
Kyle. Congrats.
That's awesome.
Excited about that. Also, another thing of good news, my sister is 15. She's in high school, and she just saw the movie Heavyweights for the first time.
Wow, change your life.
Congratulations.
Big step in life. It's a process.
Life-changing.
I'm dogging it, Pat. I'm dogging it.
That's right. So I have this is a funny meme that I saw this morning in regards to that Hall of Fame stuff.
Yeah.
They said Revis Island turned into Revis Continent. I didn't recognize Darrell Revis at first, to be honest, but I just have a question. I'm a Georgia fan and used to getting my hopes up to be dropped for all Georgia sports, but the past couple of years have been pretty good.
The golden age.
What do you guys think is the team on their schedule that would be like the trap game?
Yeah. First off, congratulations to you for getting that job, and to your sister for watching an absolutely quality movie, which I think is the prequel to Dodgeball, but that's a story for another day. As far as Georgia with trap games, I think one of the things Kirby does really well is you're not going to play your best every week. You're not going to play great 12 games of the season. You probably can get up and play your best 4, maybe 5, maybe, and you know this. But you got to be able to get through some of those games where you don't play your best and to be able to win, right? Gets back to fundamentals. You look at Auburn, week 5, Carson Beck, first true road test, right? Going if Auburn's 3-1 or possibly 4-0, depending on what happens at A&M, going to be a primetime game. You got to watch out for that one. You got to watch out for at Tennessee. There's a lot of unknowns with Joe Milton. Who knows? But if he figures it out, they're going to be a big problem. And I know Georgia and Kirby have had their number, but eventually Josh is going to be able to adjust and find something that works.
Flaming, what do you think?
I mean, you got Ole Miss at home. I mean, just for the star power that Ole Miss has their offense, you're always worried about that game.
I was
what
thinking
about
the same
Kentucky?
thing.
Where is that at?
It's at Georgia.
It's at Georgia. It's the week after
You got Devin
Auburn.
Leary who comes in.
Week after Auburn?
Yeah, and the week
Kentucky's
before
always good on defense. They always somewhat usually play Georgia tight. I would say don't look trap game wise.
Yeah.
If we're talking trap game, Kentucky, Missouri.
See, I think your instincts were right at first with Ole Miss, because the definition of a trap game is what games surround it, right? The game is in Athens, but it's the week before you go to Tennessee. That fits into like trap game type material, you know?
And Lane can witch
And
it
Lane's
up.
the type of guy, like if these guys figure it out, if you get the quarterback situation figured out, whether it's Jackson Dart or Spencer Sanders or whatever, we already talked about Quinshon Judkins being one of the best running backs in the country. Lane's the type of guy who could go in and surprise you when you're thinking about, okay, we have to be really focused on Tennessee on the road because everyone's thinking that's the game we could lose.
I just don't think Ole Miss won't be able to hold up front on defense.
Sure, but that's why we're saying trap.
Yeah, I know, but I think it'd be more. No one would be more surprised if Ole Miss beat Georgia. Like the two teams that could beat Georgia on that schedule, realistically, I guess you could throw Auburn there, but it'd be Tennessee and Ole Miss.
See, I was thinking Auburn almost because it's in Jordan Hare.
Well, it'd have to be one of those games where Carson Beck panics, turns the ball over, and you just hang around and you hang around and you
That's the
catch
game
a break
that
late.
somebody has to, for Carson Beck to panic, someone has to what?
Get to him.
I don't think Ole Miss can get to him.
I don't know if Auburn can get to him.
I think Kentucky or Missouri could get to him.
Yeah. Well, Brando had Kentucky finishing second in the East.
Yeah.
So,
Kyle,
thanks
buddy.
so much, man, and congrats on all your success.
Have a good one, guys.
Let's go to Steve in Ohio. Steve, what's going on, man?
Hey.
What's up,
How
Steve?
you doing, buddy?
Okay, I don't have trivia this week because I've got something I need to get off my chest.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Uh-oh. I think I know what this is about.
Okay. I am a pissed off Reds fan today.
Here we go.
All right, Steve, get after it.
And I have some questions.
Go ahead.
Why is Nick Senzel and Jonathan India still on the Reds?
Yeah.
There's a log jam in the Reds infield with Spencer Steer, Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, and Christian Encarnacion Strand now on the team.
Yeah.
Now, do you think Senzel, India, and a prospect or two could have brought Dylan Cease from the White Sox?
I think it could have. I think the White Sox were willing to sell the bag a little bit there. What I don't understand is it one of those situations where Cincinnati, it's going so much better than you thought. You're in a position you probably, honestly, if everybody looked each other in the eyes before the season, didn't think you were going to be in. Were you afraid to make a change and change the direction of kind of what was going on? Right? Because that's the only reason in my mind I can think you wouldn't have done that. Like, is there something in the locker room where these guys are so integral in the development of an Ellie De La Cruz or these young guys, or they were so helpful in getting you to this point that you were afraid to steer the ship a little bit to the left when you know you needed it? Everybody knows they needed it, Steve. That's my only answer to that. That's my only thought about it.
And that's the tightest division in baseball right now.
Half game back.
Brewers, Reds half game back, but then the Cubs only 2.5 games back.
And
right
they're
behind
scoring
that.
runs in bunches right now.
I know last series against. I know the last series for the Cubs was tough. Was it 20, like the 9?
I wanted to give the Cubs a shout out. Yeah, Cubs scored 36 runs in 2 games for the best stretch since 1987.
Gosh. You need some pep.
Yeah, y'all are a half game back. The Reds are a half game back. The Yankees are last. Steve, I don't want to hear anything.
Man, I mean, how could you even predict that before the season?
Flaming Dragons, screw the Yankees.
Okay, good.
Wow.
Good, Steve.
Okay,
Yeah,
Steve choosing
good.
violence.
I love the hate. Choose violence this morning, Steve. Let it out.
I have some more. I have some more questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, how did David Bell get a contract extension with the way he manages the pitching staff? He always seems to leave a starter in one batter too long, and he calls on the same relief guys day after day after day. Buck Farmer and Ian Jabot are tied for the league lead with 51 appearances apiece.
Yeah.
And Bell is wearing out his bullpen. So if they make it to the postseason, which is a big F at this point, those arms are going to be dead by the time they get there.
Yeah, it's almost like, you're in new uncharted territory and you don't know how to handle it. I do think there's, again, a lot when it's going good, you like I said earlier, you get a little nervous to change things. But that doesn't mean that you go out here and just, run guys' arms to death. What I want to see is if he does make an adjustment and he does kind of get to where you're talking about, can the Reds survive long enough to then make that push at the end of the regular season? Because I think this thing's coming down the last 10 games. That's what I think is coming down.
Look, just make it.
Just make it.
Just make it.
Just make it.
Philly
Just
showed
make it.
anything can
At this
happen,
point,
man.
You just make it. Spend them. Spin the arms. Just make it.
Definitely.
Thanks so much,
Thanks, Steve.
We
Appreciate it,
you,
buddy.
All right, last one here. Noah in Texas. Noah, what's going on, man?
Hey, y'all. How's it going? Happy Flamin' Dragon Friday.
Of course,
Friday to
man.
you,
How's the ARC building?
I've already got 3 in storage with how.
Oh, good. God, I love our audience. See, they just roll with the punches. It's fantastic.
So, first, let's try this on for size. Next time y'all throw a perfect game for Flaming Dragon Friday, which obviously we've missed the boat today, you should have Flaming Dragon over there either A, cheer for Texas A&M for a season, Or B, coming to work on Monday dressed as a 20-grand border collie.
Yes. Yes. He'll do it.
Which one would you rather do?
Hey, remember, we got to be careful here. We got 5 minutes. We're right at the
5 minutes.
hook.
We're right on the hook.
Now.
Which one would you rather do? Cheer for Texas A&M or be a border collie and roll around on the concrete?
I don't got to pay the 20 grand, right?
No. No,
Jacob, Jake will foot the bill.
Cheer for Texas A&M for a full season.
Wait, Noah will foot the bill on the dog thing.
Yeah.
Look, I'll come dressed up as a border collie. I'm not rooting for them.
Are you going to roll over like that?
I'm not.
No,
I'm not. I'm going to sit here like a human and talk the entire time.
You would come dressed up as a dog, have your butt being
First of all, I don't got to dress up to be a dog, cuz. Born with it.
Well, you don't have any in you?
Bars.
Yeah. You just don't have any in you?
Take a picture. Got too much dog in me, to be honest.
Oh, boy.
What else you got, Noah?
All right. Well, I know we've been talking football, and I'm the only Texan who's not pissed at Tim Brando because he's putting my LSU Tigers up there at 4.
Yeah.
But my question involves baseball. Y'all talked about it earlier this week about how every division in the league, except for the NL East, shout out to the Braves,
yes, sir,
is in a tight race right now. Which divisions do you think are going to go down to the wire in the fall, right before the playoffs?
Well, obviously, we were just talking about the NL Central. Let's go throw an update.
AL West, man. I mean, the Rangers Astros is going to come down to the final game.
This is great.
Astros 1.5 games back right now.
Yep.
Were you going to go Orioles Rays?
No, I was going to say the NL West too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Dodgers, Giants, D-backs.
What are the Giants at now? They were 2.5 back the other day.
They're still 2.5 back. D-backs 6.5 back. Padres.
You have somewhere 3 teams in this division. I mean, it's going to come
Rays
down
2 back of the Orioles right now. The Orioles and the Rangers are leaving.
No. Let me do you one better. The Orioles, the Rangers, and the Reds.
Well, the Reds are second. But
the Reds are second. I mean, but have
that's
been leading
crazy,
the division.
And that's good for baseball.
I would say all of them except the NL East. You want to know why? Because Alex Anthopoulos is basically a mixture of Dumbledore and Gandalf.
11.5 games up on the Phillies right now.
God, it feels so good. Pills are good.
Cue the chop music.
Yeah.
You want the chop music, Noah? Come on, I'll give you some chop.
Let's get Noah out on the chop music right here. Noah, great call. Please
Thanks
call
for calling in, buddy.
Exactly.
Call in next week.
Headed over to bets. Look, guys, nobody's trying to jinx the month. Nobody's really even talking about it. But I'm proud of us so far. I'm proud of us. All right. As a team right now, 16-8, plus over 6.5 units up. Hey, let's keep it going. All right. Y'all good with that? Everybody look at me. Look at me. Flaming, look at me. How about I throw something at you? That's fine.
Miss.
I cut your break.
Probably a miss, he said.
Talking about miss. Let's get you a paintball gun, bud.
That was a manufacturing.
Yeah, hold on. Right here. Here's the evidence.
It's a manufacturing problem.
You manufactured a problem. You missed. Here's what I got. I'm not falling for it. Tonight, Cubs, Kyle Hendricks, the scientist, on the mound against the Braves. I hate to go against them.
You're going against the Braves?
But no. I got them plus 1.5. Let's lose by 1. Max Fried coming back. I don't trust Max.
It's a good bet.
I don't.
I looked at it too. But
I almost took a money line. They're like plus 115. But I want to play it safe. Braves win by 1 maybe. 2-run home run. Top of the 9th. They give them the lead. Cubs go 3 up, 3 down. So give me the Cubs plus 1.5 at minus 115. Then the Phillies. Aaron Nola taking on the Royals at home. Jordan Lyles is just average, but that means he'll throw a perfect game tonight. So give me the Phillies minus 1.5 at minus 115. Let's go. Let's keep it 4-2.
All right, man.
4-2.
Started the month 5-1. Haven't done that since I wore diapers, man. So we want to get back even. I'm trying to get back even.
So yesterday,
I'm trying to miss a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth. All right. Phillies and the Reds both win. That little parlay is plus 104. Okay. And then the Orioles money line minus 175.
All right, cool. Let's go to my bets. Give me Houston money line minus 140. I believe they're at home. And look, man, I'm gonna keep rolling with the Rays. Give me Tampa Bay minus 1.5 plus 115.
All right, Ace Cone. He's gonna take the Blue Jays with Manoah on the mound. Money line plus 135, and then Cleveland money line minus 175. Let's see if we can do it. What do we got?
Let's go to Lucas Blanchard, $2 donation. Appreciate it, Luke.
Yep.
Says, well, LSU beat Bama this year in Bryant-Denny.
Making my predictions into fall camp. Needs to see who gets hurt. But right now, I'm leaning a little bit toward LSU.
Okay, let's go to Coffee Guy, $2 donation. Are any of y'all going to UFC in Nash tomorrow?
Can we tell you yes? Can we say yes to you?
Maybe. All right, let's roll through these.
Let's go to Ride High's $5 donation. Fun fact, they freed the real Free Willy, Kyoko, in Norway. He got rejected by the killer whales there, tried to come back, and died of pneumonia.
His life was better before?
Wait, no way. That's a real thing?
He got rejected?
Tragic.
They wouldn't even let him in
man.
They wouldn't even let him in the trust.
No,
they say you from Cranbrook.
You from Cranbrook. That's a private pool. Oh, that's a good one.
Let's go to Trevor Sage, $5 donation. Appreciate it, Trevor. As a realistic Patriot fan looking at their schedule, I see one game we will absolutely win. That's Indy. Is the floor for this team 13-14 losses?
I don't know. You have about as much weapons as Crain right now.
Back off from the ledge a little bit, bud. Y'all gonna be all right.
Yeah, you're not losing 13, but you damn sure ain't winning 13.
Let's go to Cole Frink, $2 donation. Thank you, Cole. Jake, what is your brother's hottest take?
Don't fall for any of this stuff right now.
I love how
There's
Cole.
a lot of stuff right now.
I love how Cole.
Thank you.
Reel you in.
Thanks, Coach.
Reel you in.
Thanks, Coach.
Which brings us to the poll anyway, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Who will have the best second year?
Okay.
B. Kelly, Dan Lanning, Lincoln Riley, or Brent Venables.
That's a good poll. It's a good poll.
Look, I went with Brian Kelly off the top. I trust the Booster Club to make good judgments. Give me Brian Kelly, 39%.
More than that. Well, it's a 4-teamer. You're right.
Yeah.
I'll go Brian Kelly 40%. Let's price it right.
Let's go to Brent Venables, 9%.
Damn, I don't believe in Brent.
Let's go to Dan Lanning, 14%.
Okay, math is adding up.
Lincoln Riley, 19%.
Okay, which leaves
Brian Kelly, 59.
59.
Wow.
He slaughtered that poll.
Wow.
BK, have it your way.
Wow. Everybody, do your best, Owen Wilson. Wow.
News from the control room.
News from the control room.
The under hits again.
Yeah.
It hits again. Yeah, next time you have to put it 1.5.
Great job. Half the show is calls, so I mean.
Yeah, great job, Coach.
Tough.
Great job, David. Really proud of you. I'm really proud of you, bud. Appreciate you guys. Let's get to 100,000 subs. Hope you have a great weekend. We've got some big-time interviews coming, some big-time announcements coming, and football's already here. Got to watch it last night. And like the chances of football season on the field not being here anymore, we're gone.